Hey guys, welcome back. It is Darkraseth here, and I am bringing you guys a top 10 video on mistakes that new players make, and even some of the current players are still making in the game, or they've made them in the past, and they have let me know, hey, this is a mistake that I made in the game, and I don't want other people to have to go through this and realize that this isn't giving you the might gain that you're looking for. This is bringing me to a slower pace, or even a crawl when it comes to my progression in the game, and I want others to know exactly what is the proper way to do things in this game. So the first one that we have is mana circles. I have been seeing quite a few people mention to me that they have 10 plus people that they brought to 10th mana cycle in their first day or second day, because you get a whole lot of mana right at the start of the game, you get a whole lot of mana from achievements, and then once all of the mana's gone, it's a really slow grind because there's no mana dungeon currently in the game. And so the reason why this is a mistake is because it is better to find your 4 that you are going to want to stick with, maybe 5, and potentially even 6. I'm actually about to start working on my 5th and 6th unit when it comes to the raid, but I've already worked on 4 heroes to my sufficient liking, and now can work on these other units. It's going to give you a huge backwards momentum if you're putting mana on a whole bunch of people at the start, and then realizing you don't like them. And then when you find those units that you do like let's say Prince or Orion here or Gerota, you're going to end up not having the mana that you're going to want to get them up to that 20, 30, 40, 50 mana cycles. So this is my advice to you guys. Look it up, the units, look at their skills, ask your favorite streamer or your favorite YouTuber, look at what they do, compare them to other ones, ask, hey, is this a good skill? Is paralysis resistance, is this good? Is skill prep, is this a good skill? Figure out what is good and then make your educated decision off of that. Alright, and now the second mistake is a really simple one, a really quick one. When it comes to restoring your stamina and your Gaither wings, which one should you do, and why is this a mistake that people make? First things first, when it comes to restoring your resources, it is almost always going to be better to restore your stamina. You get 100 stamina per refill and only 6 Gaither wings. This means that each Gaither wing counts for 5 stamina, and so if it's a 10 to 15 stamina dungeon, it could be 2 Gaither wings. Whereas the 20 stamina dungeon is still 2 Gaither wings. So there, it's better to use your stamina, because otherwise you'll be wasting your wings. And so each wing is more valuable than stamina. Now, when it comes to your level, when you first start out, do not recharge your stamina or your wings. Don't spend, let's say you run out of wings, but you have a bunch of stamina, or you run out of stamina, but you have a bunch of wings. Use both of them before you buy your first refill, and it will last you up to about level 35 to 37, and it is a huge mistake to start using your Wormite early on until you are at about level 35 to 37. You can go from 1 to that level continuously without ever needing to refill one or the other. Alrighty, and tip number 3 has to do with summons. When it comes to summons, the thing that you want to avoid here is single summon. You can tell it may be that you are you're itching, you just got some Wormite and you really want to summon, and let's say maybe your appearance rates are really high right now, and you're really hoping, hey, I really want to summon right now, and it's going to be detrimental for each single summon that you do, because a 10-fold summon is always going to guarantee you a 4-star unit, whereas 10 of these you may get all 3 stars. That's the reason why Daily Deal isn't even a very good deal itself, and it's really just a cheaper version of a Diamantium summon, and even that, it isn't worth it. The higher your appearance rates get, the worse it is to use a single summon. Now here's the reason why. If I were to do a tenfold summon, and let's say I had 5% on each of these rates, I have a really good chance to get a 5-star unit as opposed to the base rate. If I'm doing a single summon, I may get my natural 5, whereas for this one, the tenfold, that 5% on each of them is going to apply to the entire tenfold summon, because as far as I have been notified, now you guys can correct me in the comments if I am wrong, the tenfold, the appearance rates, gets calculated once you click that button and actually summon. So don't use your resources on single summon. It is absolutely not worth it. Alrighty, mistake number 4 is whetstones. When it comes to whetstones, I cannot stress this enough to you guys. This is so absolutely important. This was a huge mistake that I myself made, and a lot of other people have been talking about this. Please, 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 you guys, do not use your whetstones until you are able to craft 4-star equipment or above. I've seen a couple of people that are kind of crazy and want to go from 3 to 5-star, and that's several weeks without a giant power gain that you're going to get from your 4-star equipment. Each 4-star piece that you are going to want to enhance. Now, it's going to be a thing that I'm going to be repeatedly talking about. Once you have Halidome level 4, that is your town, you can get Smithy level 4 and Smithy level 5. In order to enhance a 4-star piece of equipment, you need Smithy level 5. Now, in order to enhance a piece of 4-star equipment, you're going to want 5 copies that you're going to craft, and then you're going to want to get that all the way up to level 70, unlike level 40 of the 3-star equipment, all the way to level 70. Then you enhance it, and then you can use it to unbind your current equipment. So each time, it's going to be 70 levels instead of 40. All of us that used our whetstones on those level 40 unbinds and then enhances, those ended up being wasteful because of just how much you're going to need for 4-star and above. So please, 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 do not use your whetstones. I know that they look nice and juicy and they give really good experience. Use your extra weapons that you are not using. Not this one. Use your extra 1- and 2-star weapons to enhance instead. You will feel so much better about it. I know it's going to take a little bit longer to get those drops, but please, it is worth it, trust me. Alrighty guys, tip number 5 has to do with Talonstones, and I've seen this one be a big oopsie for a lot of people who end up using them and not being able to get more. Talonstones are received from reaching very specific levels of affection with your dragon's affinity, specifically every 5 levels, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30, and also giving them the higher end gifts, 8k, 12k, and the 4-leaf clover when they show up. And when it comes to Talonstones, there are 3 places that you can use them at. You can use them to upgrade the Halidome, 10 for this level. You can use them to upgrade your Dragon Tree, 4 in this case. You can use them to, let's really quickly go here. You can use them to upgrade your Dracolith if you are using Wind Dragons. And I think Smithy, no, not Smithy in this case. So when it comes to using your Talonstones, do not use too many on your Dragon Tree before you have your Halidome to level 4. Always make sure before using your Talonstones anywhere else that you have enough left over after upgrading that to still level your Halidome. Even if you are, see, this is facilitated level 200, even if I'm 42 away, I may not get Talonstones for a couple of days. Let's say I don't have very good luck and I have my Dragon's Affinity maxed out at 30. Well, be careful not to use them and then end up not having enough for up to an entire day and put yourself behind because you weren't able to raise your Halidome. Mistake number 6 that people are making is they are not liking how much equipment drops when they are doing run after run after run. So they decide, you know what, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna craft myself 50 of these, or 80 of these in this case, and I'm going to use them all as fodder, and I'm gonna level my equipment up. The problem with this is the longer you are going to be in the game, after the second, around day 2 to 3 in the game, a lot of people are going to start noticing that's when you start getting around account level 35 to 37 for normal players. You'll start to notice that rupees are worth a lot more than they used to be. These resources here, these are invaluable. I have a lot because I am farming higher end dungeons, which are dropping a whole bunch of these. But when you are first starting out, do not make extra equipment to use them as fodder. Especially once you get to 4-star and think, oh, I'll make 4-star because they're worth that much more experience. No, it's the same thing with dragons, it's the same thing with weapons. 4-star versus 3-star, it is a very minimalistic extra amount of experience you will get. Don't ever fodder 4-star anything unless you have absolutely no use for it when it comes to weapons. When it comes to dragons, just don't do it. Don't fodder your 4-star dragons. Really quickly, an add-on to equipment that I forgot to mention to you guys is, well, why can't I just go and farm the rupees and farm the materials and then craft the equipment anyways? With how much each piece of equipment gives, it is better to farm a dungeon that drops equipment than to farm a rupee dungeon and a material dungeon. You'll be spending about twice as much stamina per piece of equipment that you will be using as fodder. And that is the reason why you should never use crafted equipment as fodder. Alrighty guys, tip number 7 and tip number 8 / mistake number 7 and mistake number 8 are actually sort of within the same vein, and even tip number 9 as well. They're all combat, so if combat is something that doesn't really bother you, or it's not something that you're really being affected by yet, then don't worry about it. The thing that I want to talk about, tip number 7, is when it comes to boss creatures. Now, I wasn't able to, I sat here for the last 10-15 minutes trying to find a high-end 9K dragon fight to be able to show you guys, but I will just show you this, which is a high might version of the equipment dungeon, and show you guys when it comes to using your skills. There are a couple things you need to know. There are invulnerable frames and there are vulnerable frames. When it comes to using a skill, the second that you use it, when when you are still having the skill cut in that shows your character that they are using a skill, when that happens, you are invulnerable. Now, right after that, you actually can't move, you can't do anything. So here, let me show you. When I use this here, okay, now I'm no longer invulnerable. Like a half a second before I said now I'm vulnerable. As soon as Hawk's picture appears off the screen, you are now vulnerable. So when it comes to this tip, please, please, please watch the enemy. Make sure you know what they are doing before you decide, hey, I'm gonna use a skill. Wait until the end of a giant animation and watch the boss and decide, especially when it comes to Zodiac, the Dark Dragon. A lot of people, he is impossible for because you are used to just constantly damaging. If I had to continue to damage there, I would have gotten hit by this guy's ability, and he would have been able to freeze me and kill me easily. The next thing is, I have been doing it this entire one here. The host gave up because we had a couple of really bad people in this run. I sort of expected this to happen. Always make sure before you focus the boss, focus down all of the ads. Those are additional mobs, anything that is not the boss. That giant guy in the center, of course, being the boss there. So that is tip number 8 / mistake number 8, is never expect other people to down the extra mobs for you, because then that mob may do a it may be a basilisk that uses its breath ability, and you get bogged down or burned or poisoned and unable to use your dragon to save you. And then the other thing that could happen is maybe it's a gust of wind from one of the little eye bats, and that knocks you into an ability that one-shots you. So always make sure to focus the additional mobs before you focus the main boss, and make sure to be really wary about using skills. If you are going to take damage anyways, it is okay to use a skill to just hope that you don't take the damage. But just know, after your invulnerable frames, you become vulnerable for about the same amount of time, if not a little bit longer, where you can't do anything because your character is doing the animation of the skill. Alrighty guys, when it comes to mistake number 9 and / tip number 9, has to do with your dragon. Let me go ahead and summon my dragon here and use it in a way that I normally wouldn't, just so you guys can see this health bar right here. You see, watch its health bar. See how it went down, how you saw little bits of red coming out of it? That right there is the tip / the mistake. People think that it's that the time that you are transformed into a dragon can't be brought down by anything, and so they'll summon their dragon to get out of a nuke ability. Then the actual nuke ability will go off, and then their dragon they won't even be able to use their skill 1 on it, because they lost all of the dragon's health or its meter. They are actually the same thing. Make sure you guys know dragon's meter equals dragon's health, and use it as if it was your health bar as well. It is a very precious health bar, especially because of just how much a dragon actually does. So be very careful. Don't just willy-nilly summon your dragon in the middle of stuff and have it just get overwhelmed and die really quickly before you can use its abilities. And the official term for it is shape-shifting into a dragon. Alright, tip number 10, mistake number 10. This is probably the most asked question / worry that people have, and it's a huge debate in pretty much every stream that I go into, and any Discord channel that I go into. What should I put my dragon on for this unit here? If, let's say, I had Hawk and Joan of Arc, I didn't have Zephyr. A lot of people think that because it is a 5-star unit and a 5-star dragon, it does not matter if they have the same element. Use it because it's going to be your most powerful combo anyways. No, this is actually incorrect. It is better to use a 3-star dragon with the correct element on a character instead of having a 5-star dragon just because it is your only 5-star dragon. Now, there are some exceptions to this. This is really important to note, and it is very up to you to make sure you are making the informed decision. When it comes to deciding which dragon I'm going to put on this character, the first thing I need to look at is, what do I have for dragons? If I have only blue, red, only water, fire, light, and dark dragons, then I can put a 5-star dragon, if it is of the wrong color, on this guy, as long as I do not have a proper element to put, let's say, my Joan of Arc on. You can use your best dragon on your best unit as long as you do not have a element for them. And as long as you have, let's say you have all 5-star units, you want to use all 5-star units. Use the best dragon for them. I actually, for the first 3 days, used a 3-star dragon, which I now have foddered, because it was the correct element for a correct unit. Now, the reason why is because every dragon has an ability, a passive, which is they give a giant buff to the user that has the same element, in this case, wind. For Joan of Arc, instead of strength, it's 40% HP. as long as it is on a light unit. The story dragon here gives at base 5%, but here 10% HP and strength as long as it's a wind dragon. So your dragon is losing up to 10, 20, 30, 40% of their potential if you are putting the wrong dragon on the wrong unit. This is really important, you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave a like rating if you did. Subscribe to the channel. We are new here on YouTube, but we usually stream on Twitch mornings on the weekdays and night times on the weekends. I have a Discord that you guys could join if you want any extra information, if you want to just chat it up with me. And that is it for me. Enjoy, you guys.